Hey everyone. Today I want to talk about something that I've mentioned here briefly. It's another Nietzsche thing. The reason why, just quickly, why I'm talking about Nietzsche so much is that I had a class in the spring that we just read the entirety of The Will to Power um over 16 weeks, and that was the entire class, and I wrote an essay about it. And But the topic of the essay actually was a video before it was an essay. It was an essay about how Nietzsche is actually kind of Christian in a way. And I'll leave that video in the description so you can see it. But yeah, that video actually inspired the essay that I wrote, and there are quite a few passages in The Will to Power, like I said, Kaufman's version, and the most recent, I think 2021 or 2022 version published by Penguin that sort of suggests that. But I don't want to talk about stuff that's in the Will to Power. I want to talk about the one of the sort of central concepts in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, and um really of his entire philosophy. It's definitely his most famous phrase, which is um God is dead, or the concept of the death of God. And to sort of clear it up real quick, people misunderstand, like, it's not that God literally died or that we literally killed him, right? It's that the sort of progress of science and technology and its ability to explain in a better way the workings of nature um have sort of brought everything we knew up to that point. And for most of the West or colonized people, it was Christianity, that God reigns supreme, that he is the creator of the universe. And all of a sudden now in Nietzsche's time, it was appearing, well, that's may not actually be the case. And I mean, yeah, what can I say? I agree. I'm an atheist. And just to keep in mind, this isn't meant to like offend anyone who's a believer. I know I have tons of subscribers who are believers. That's not the point of this video. I just want to throw my hat into the ring because honestly, guys, I think you also have to be real that, like, how many of us are really atheists? Even the majority of white Americans don't consider themselves to be atheists, much less um Latinos and other minorities. So that's why I'm doing this. But yeah, and so the death of God is not really meant to be something that's meant to be like a happy, joyous thing. I mean, it's only joyous, at least for Nietzsche, insofar as um it allows a human being to be somewhat free, and the in his words, the creator of his own tables of values, of his own transvaluation of all values, of being able to let them take all values which they've accepted hitherto and put them under a critical lens and decide if they want to keep it or not. And that's another thing, like, this doesn't open the door to more to relativism. I think that's another thing that he misunderstand or people misunderstand is because, like, I think that for Nietzsche, if the values don't in some way help you overcome yourself and your circumstances, well, then they're not good values. He's not against moral values in and of themselves. And that's really like people's biggest misunderstanding. I think that, like, I don't really know what to say other than that. Like, it's such a travesty that he gets misinterpreted in that way by bad actors. And honestly, the death of God again has a lot to do with that, because you lose your moral grounding without God, the root of all goodness and of all notions of evil. That's what his phrase beyond good and evil also means. And for me, I want to talk about what the death of God means for me. And honestly, like I said, it was really hard for God to die. For me, like, because you have to understand, as a disabled guy, I always considered God to be my only friend, guys. Like, and I know for a fact that it's like that for a lot of other disabled people, right? Because we learn very, very early on how much appearance matters and how much fitting in matters, right? And obviously with God, he loves you as you are in all of your imperfection, right? And yeah, and just to lose that, to lose basically your only friend, to be alone in this world. And keep in mind, I didn't take it lightly either. It took 3 years of constant biblical, scientific, mathematical, and archaeological research on my part to come to that point, and also just to look back at my life and be like, yeah, I don't believe this anymore. And it pained me, guys. It pained me. Like, the death of God, again, is not meant to be, at least on the outset, a happy thing. And it was like that way for me, and especially, I also faced the ostracization of my culture. Like, because if you're atheist and you're a Latino, it's over. It's over. Americans are a little bit more accepting, but you're, as an atheist, still viewed as immoral and with suspicion. Like, and so yeah, that was also hard. But I mean, well, what do you want me to do? Just lie to myself? Just forget everything I've learned and have learned since then? Like, I mean, I feel like some people, knowing the truth, do lie to themselves, and that's fine for them, but it just felt wrong to me, right? Like, I'm not against faith. If you need to have faith to live, that's fine, but again, it just felt like I was living a lie. Like, in my heart, I knew that it just wasn't possible for me to believe anymore, and I knew that God was dead at that moment. In fact, I remember the exact day. It was after I got some very, very painful Botox shots. But like I said, it had been building up for 3 years. April 17th, 2014. That's my date for the death of God. And yeah, what can I say? I spent time being a cringe Reddit atheist, and then like I worked through my feelings on the death of God more seriously, and like I'm not like that anymore. And but one thing that I want to point out is that in, I believe, the Gay Science, the parable of the madman, where he says, God is dead and we have killed him, he also um says something, and I'm paraphrasing, forgive me if I get this wrong, but it's like, and I came to the sepulchres of a dead God, and above it was written the words Aeternum Deo, which in Latin means to or for God, the eternal. And honestly, guys, that's one detail that again you would miss if you didn't know Latin. But that is also part of the way I feel. Like, honestly, guys, part of my heart still belongs to God the Father and God the Son and Jesus Christ. I will never be able to exorcise the eternal Jew from my heart, ever. I love Jesus, but I realize that I could love him just as much as I love Siddhartha Gautama, and just as much as I love Lao Tzu, and just as much as I love Arjuna. So what can I say other than Aeternum Deo, to God the Eternal? I mourn him every single day. My life is vacuous without him, but I have to be strong and I have to keep going. Bye, guys.